So listen, why? Why why should putting yourself first be a non-negotiable? I got a call from a leader I respect. I respect this leader uh very, very much. They called me because they were concerned about my work with radical self-love, and they asked me, would Jesus tell you to put yourself first? Yeah, that part. And 100%. Yes. I said, yes, 100%. He didn't agree. But guess what? I didn't need him to agree. I didn't need his position because, as they say, what's understood doesn't need to be explained, right? Because here's the truth. And I got some stats. I read an article uh, in USA Today. Here's the truth. It was saying that women are more likely than men to report having a great deal of stress. This is according to the APA, according to the American Psychological Association, right? Almost half of all the women that they surveyed said their stress had increased over the past 5 years compared to 4 in 10 men. Mothers tend to be more tired and stressed and unhappy than fathers. Professional women experience more stress, more anxiety, and psychological distress than men. Okay? As women, we over accommodate. We over accommodate other people's needs, we under accommodate our needs. We're fully aware that this is happening, we see it happening, and we continue to neglect ourselves. Am I talking to anybody? Because I've been there. Why? Why do we do that? Why do other people feel more important than you? I read this article and it was fascinating. They were talking about the culture of female service. The culture of female service. And in this article, they were saying that all cultural, they were talking about the culture of female service is, all the cultural beliefs about females. And the female, we're the nurturing gender, and our duty and our role to care for and nurture the family and the community. It was talking about doing this without needing care in return. And that is the mindset that has created a society that expects women to give, to give, to give, to give without acknowledging what they need. And it's created this culture of self neglect. Like we repeatedly, as women, subscribe to the notion that this is normal, that it's just the role of the women to be this sacrificial offering for the family. And that is modeled and passed down with each generation. And it's particularly prevalent in some cultures. And is such a part of the fabric. It's so woven into the fabric of who we are that oftentimes we don't even recognize how it impacts our emotional well-being. We just chalk it up to, this is just the way that it is. So many women are scared to say no because they have a belief that it's selfish, that it's neglectful, and so many women don't know how to ask for what they need. They don't have the skill of honoring their feelings and their needs. So many of my clients, when they first come to me, we always talk about. We start with what do you want? I ask them that question. What is it that you want? What would you love? So many of them can't even articulate what they want because they're so accustomed to deferring to what everyone else wants. And we make it look easy, right? We make it look easy balancing our needs with everyone else's needs and expectations. And some of us have been sidelined. Some of us sideline ourselves. And we have not learned, many women, to recognize what we want or pay attention to what we need. So putting yourself last on the list, tolerating, settling, neglecting yourself has become comfortable, and familiar. But what is the second greatest commandment? Love your neighbor as yourself. The first one is love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second one, love your neighbor as yourself. What does loving yourself look like? We got the neighbor on lock. We good at that. But what does loving yourself look like? What does that look like? Okay? What does that look like? I remember my mom. I remember I was so overwhelmed, y'all. I was so overwhelmed beyond measure. And I called my mom once. This was like, I don't know, my kids were small, so it's probably like about 15 years ago. I called my mom and I was like crying. And she was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong, baby? What's wrong?" And I said, "I just wish somebody would take care of me the way that I take care of everyone else." And she said, I couldn't see her because I was on the phone, but I'm sure if I could see her, she probably sat up straight and she was like, just went in on me. And she said to me, "Well, it's not going to happen. So learn how to take care of yourself." And those words just reverberated in me. I'm so glad she said that to me. She said, "Learn how to take care of yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. It ain't going to happen. You have to take ownership and be proactive and make you a priority." So what I learned that, it wasn't really, as I went developed this practice of learning to take care of me, basically learning to love me. Guess what it came down to? It wasn't about doing the things, although they're nice. I love a good massage. I love a mani-pedi. I love a girls' night out. All of those are great, and they all fall underneath the umbrella of loving yourself. They're important. But you know what is more important than that? It was about learning to be in partnership with me, understanding who I was created to be, and that I was worthy and deserving of it, not what society told me I should be. Because it was my beliefs about myself as a woman and what I was supposed to do, what I should do, what I have to do, that caused this misalignment in my life. And I know y'all with me. You with me? Because you get these messages from all over, from your family, from your church, from your organizations, from your nonprofit, from your job, from your culture. And let me clarify, we are called to serve, but not from a place of guilt or shame or obligation. There are times when you don't feel like doing things, but at some point there's a shift that occurs and it energizes you when it's coming from a place of love. So I'm talking about the things that you do because of that voice in your head, that inner critic, that little girl that doesn't want to be rejected, that wants to please, that doesn't want to rock the boat, that goes along with the program. That's what I'm talking about. Whether it's your mama, your grandmama, your pastor, your boo, the culture, the water. We pick up all kinds of beliefs from well-meaning and not so well-meaning people. Experiences, we interpret conversations, interactions, and they become the basis on which our beliefs are formed. And those beliefs impact the way that we see ourselves and our worth and our value. They impact the way we see what we deserve or what we believe we don't deserve. You become what you believe. So when you begin to practice this deliberate act of loving you, you can love everyone else better. Here's what I know to be true. Here's what I want you to get. And then, I gotta move on here. Here's what I want you to get and to understand. You came from love. God is love, right? pure love, the very substance of love. And you were made in the image and the likeness of love. So if we came from divine love, if you were created with this intention of you being a channel, a vessel, a conduit for this unlimited power of love and passion and freedom and joy to flow through, why aren't you worthy and deserving of love to receive it and to give it to yourself? And guess what? Guess what? Guess what, my Christian friends? Jesus was a wonderful example of loving himself. Jesus went inside for guidance. Jesus knew how to say no. Jesus knew how to rest. And Jesus told the truth. Okay? The same is for you, sister, my queen. Your superpower is learning how to go inward, not out, but in first. Because when you are aware of who you are and what you need, you have such a clearer idea of, of, of what you need to say yes to, what you need to say no to. You know how to orient yourself in terms of people, with the situations, the things that best support you in being you. When you say no to others, you say yes to you. And why don't we say no? It's because we're scared. Scared. You're afraid. You're afraid of conflict. You're afraid of confrontation. You're afraid of rejection. But we got to understand, as women, we've been taught that the other's approval is more important than your approval. The other's thoughts are more important than your thoughts. We got to change that. I'm on a mission to change that. That's why we're having this radical self-love experience, so that you can return to your true identity. You know what your true identity is? Your true identity is love. And look, if you just watch the little babies and watch the little children, they know how to love. Before all the crap gets in their head, they're just pure love. They just love. There are no strings attached, right? Before the expectations and the judgments and all the demands, before we got rejected and experienced harsh words and embarrassment and shame and guilt and all that other crap, right? And now those beliefs are so enmeshed in our mind, in our core, we've just come to accept it as this is just who I am. It's not who you are. It's not who you are. Those beliefs are what drive you to over accommodate, to overperform, to overspend, to overeat, to over apologize. That's the root of your self-criticism and self-doubt and self-loathing. But radical self-love returns you to your true identity. Love. Your identity is love.